Few observations now that we're kind of halfway through or whatever and starting a new one, a new video. First one is the enjoyment that I had early on compared to kind of a dulling of that enjoyment, almost nothing really as we go. That's really the bidding. I can take a look at the board and start getting excited, but when I'm chattering on, I'm just not having as much fun. And that's the case with a lot of games, especially the Euros, especially the things that are very interactive. I can sit down and have a lot of fun playing them. Like I'm thinking UP, Tigris and Euphrates, stuff like that. I can have a lot of fun playing them, but that fun kind of gets spoiled when I'm bidding it. And it's not the solo issue at all. You know, I can have fun making these decisions in a solo game. The other facet has to do with kind of the comparison between this and acquire. In acquire, first of all, you roll the money over and you're using the money to buy shares, so that's one big factor. And here, that's really not the case. So like the green line may end up being huge and valuable, so that people who initially got shares in green aren't getting hosed because they didn't turn their cash around too many times. So they're still getting that. Now, obviously, you can ooze your way in. I think it's still worth more to crash companies into companies because, you know, this thing, it made money off of all of its connections, and it turned into, if you kept your shares to do that, which White did not, it turned into shares of the green line, which are going to potentially be worth something. But they're not guaranteed to be worth something. It's only the first and second place finishes that get anything. That also is different. In acquire, yeah, getting first or second is important, but also your shares are worth something. You don't lose money on them. So when you do crash something, you get to turn that money around and you reuse it. And it's grown in value. It's a little different. This captures one aspect of the acquire feel. The other captures different ones. I haven't thought at all about green, and I'm going to step away and, you know, I'll report on what I report on, whatever. It's not like anybody's too excited about watching these, to tell you the truth. You know, the war games, I think there's a little bit more interest because the narrative is a little easier to capture. Although, I'm able to, this has a board, it has a geometrical positioning, therefore I'm able to take an enjoyment in it. As long as I'm not discussing my every thought. At juncture point, green pushed their rail down towards their station. They're not sure how they're going to get that station into play if they don't get something. Trying to get blue up there looked really hard. That put it on brown. Brown is going to take the offer. They grab the chit. They're going in. But this guy doesn't want that to happen. I'm not sure Brown really wants it to happen either, but whatever. He's going to put his bid to say no. Green is the one who wants this to happen. If they don't bid on it, it may just not happen. What is White going to say that they want to do? They've got to do it this way. How does Brown feel about that? They're not totally opposed. They would have liked the token, but it's green who has to make the first decision here. And they can't get away with a one bid. I think, wow. You know, are they going to leave it up to Brown to play their lead in that? I think that's highly unlikely. So I'm going to put the two bid in, and Brown will let them pay in order to do what they want. A fair number of green shares available. Ramming blue into green. Good, bad, I'm not sure. But if I do this, I force a choice. Only Brown has any of these. They can spend one, and it doesn't hurt them one bit to send it this way. Does it help them? Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. They have the shares, but I don't think it terribly does, but here's the thing. They get second place with these. They only get one. So I am going to put a bid of one. Is he going to try to jam this through? I don't think so. I think he's going to let Brown play this. But now I have a second action. Now, I don't want to hit this. That'll just help Brown. I don't particularly care about much else. Do I want that token, which will get me like $1,000 and hurt Brown a little bit? Or is there some other play I have that I want? I don't know. I think I'm going to look at the tokens. They're bear skins. Nobody's got more than one bear skin. I forgot to give myself a station marker for that. Passenger marker, which gives me the lead in the passengers. Could be valuable. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I could force Brown to play another piece by going down there or something, but that doesn't seem terribly worthwhile to me. So I'm going to look to see what else I might want to do. Else was grab a green share by moving the track. I've got these blues. They're going to generate me a couple more green shares. I'm in the running for the green, and that's going to be a huge amount of points at the end of the game. It's not just the stocks, it's also the stations. I'm not going to be in the running for that as far as I can see. It's hard to tell. I mean, we can count. There's probably three green stations, because the next player, what they did is shot here. White's got 3. Yeah, I'm probably not going to be in the running. I have 2 stations, but if this crashes in, that's a 3rd station, so who knows? It could be close there, but anyway. This guy, who's not doing terribly well, I don't know did he generate a lot of money? I don't know, it's hard to tell with all these piles of money. Chips would make it easier to keep the information open. The rules say the information's not open. So he played a gray. That gave him his second token, his second share, and is going to crash it. That throws him into green, gives him a trade-in, all kind of other stuff. He doesn't have a lot of green shares, so that's kind of his problem. But the question is, does anybody want to prevent this? He's got 1 share of gray. He could prevent it. However, I've got as many stations as anyone else in this. I just don't see much point to it. And Brown's getting his trade-ins. He doesn't see much point either, to tell you the truth. The only possible value is if blue could hit another city here, make some money. It'd be nice to ram into blue first, maybe, I don't know. But it doesn't look terribly important to anyone, which means he's probably going to also take another green share and try to get into the competition for the green shares as well, although he's way behind in them. So I don't know if he has much chance, but maybe somebody will let him catch up. He's got a lot of stations, though. He's got as many as anyone does in it. And green's going to make things ugly. They build a quick station here and try to put it there. That'll give them, if it goes in, a guaranteed station addition, which is great. Well, somebody has got to be unhappy about that. So let's count stations. Green's got 3 right now. Brown has only 2 and maybe can't get any more without, I mean, they could throw one up here or something and cause some issues that way. But yeah, as it stands, no guarantee there. Green may not be the end game company. They may crash into blue. It is a possibility. And that would be something this guy, for example, would love to see happen. Given that, I don't think Brown is terribly interested in trying to stop this. He could bid a lot of his green shares, but his green shares are what are kind of winning him this. He may not even get second place with stations. So he's not too interested. But this guy is. He's going to bid his 2 and say, yeah, you're going to have to pay. That takes him out of the bidding, so then it goes to him. Well, the extra station is real important. However, I'm giving up second place here. I might be able to slip into that station even if this goes up here. So it's kind of iffy. I hope I drew my, I don't think I drew my track for this. That still keeps me in the lead, or in second place for this. So I am going to play my 2 in order to guarantee that my station gets scored. Because again, we don't know. If we let it go the other way, we might be playing in blue, which my stations will still score. They're going to score either way, and blue's probably going to join green, so that's not a big deal. But the big deal is which company's shares count, and I got a better chance of getting second place in green than I do in blue, I guess. I have to be careful here too. They could just take passenger token. That would guarantee them a lead in the passengers. Green could conceivably get it otherwise. However, that would open up the possibility that green could crash into blue, which we don't really want happening. We'd rather see blue crash into green. So I think we want to move the blue token rather than the green token. And in fact, I think we want to try to move it twice. Where? Well, we'll try to move there. The blue player, he doesn't have a way of stopping things. He could divert it up here, but then it could go in there anyway. So we let that go. And that just hooked up this city. Who has it? I have it. Excellent. It hooked it up for him for a new railway, which means I will get $3,000 from the top line here. And then after that, well, here it gets tricky. Do I want more money? Do I want this? Do I want to ensure that I crash it in? Rather than the other way around. Well, I have a fair amount of these. That more money, I mean, it will count for the share crash, but it would also count for, and noted, if green crashes in, blue never gets that extra money. It would count double, basically, for his station. Or, nah, it depends on how it crashes. I think I want to try to crash it in. That gets me my 4th share. That'll guarantee I get 2 more green. But he may not want this to happen. He may rather hit here. How much would he rather hit there? Well, that's a good question. So that would be entering a new city. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's worth a lot. But how many of these is it worth? And that's kind of the problem. It's definitely worth a pile of money. I'd be losing my first place in blue, which could be a real problem in a lot of different directions. How much is a first place in blue worth? Well, a first place in blue, actually I'd be tied for first in blue, is going to be worth that 6,000. Again, no, it's not going to be worth 6,000. It's going to be worth 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Why did I give him 6,000? Did I give it to the right person? What have I done? Yeah. So it's 6. I'm assuming I'm right. I don't know. So it would be 6, 9,000. We would each get 4,000 right now. If I divert it, I will get less, but we'll get the payout of, I will get, in that case, I will get the station money. So it's definitely worth diverting. It's just how many of these shares is it worth diverting? It's definitely worth a 2-bid. Is it worth a 3-bid? It's not worth a 4 because I don't want to lose my my shares at all entirely. I think it's worth a 3 because I get to play next and then I can crash it in. So I'll bid 3. I don't think he cares enough to make it worth 3. So this goes here. This goes here. And we have the most stations, so we get the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, which is going to be $10,000. And again, this is so much easier to track if you're not trying to vid it at the same time. That moves our player over here. I probably want to crash it in. What else do I want to do? Yeah. I'm no longer interested in crashing green in. The station token, it would give me a tie for second place on the station. That's worth $1,000. And a shot at another station, maybe. What else could be possibly valuable? I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, I can always just pump more greens. Or I could throw a station up here, but then green will go around it, right? Unless somebody else throws a station down, and then maybe we count money and see who's winning. I don't want to think that hard. So I do want to go in. What else do I want to do? What else is of any value? Could start getting some yellow shares that turn into greens. Doesn't sound as valuable as getting the green shares. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to chunk this into here. Nobody cares about that. The reason is the only other alternative is there. It has the exact same effect. So that's going to crash in, and we're going to generate all kind of money for that. No way to get more blue shares. We're in second place in blue. I don't remember what it was totaled. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That means we get 3,000. The other guy gets 7,000. The paper money in this is kind of goofy. Shares exchange. And then I'm going to do this. And that actually turns out to be brilliant because it is the last certificate here. That means nobody is going to pass me except by ramming something into green. So that, and no one can challenge this. That gives me a passenger token, which puts me someplace interesting. And I think that's it. But I've got a, not guaranteed by any means, but I've got a second place in green. Now, this line can enter, and this line can enter. Those are the only remaining lines. One of them will make it. The other one won't, because when one company's shares are all that are left, that's when the game ends. So that puts us here. And he's in what kind of looks like a hopeless situation, isn't he? He's got 3 of these, which isn't bad. Green's got 4. Brown has a couple. Black has a couple. green looks pretty good if he can get to second place in the shares, I think. But I don't have stations. I don't have shares worth shit. I don't have tokens compared to other people. I'm pretty much guaranteed last place unless I've banked a whole horde of money, and I'm pretty sure he hasn't banked more than some of the other players. He's just been sort of the sad sack of the game. He has gotten all his stations in play, at least. Putting a station up here, nobody's going to be moving that green railroad. There's no more shares available for it. So what could I do? You know, I could try to drop a couple stations here, you know, see if we can get yellow to do something. But now that makes black kind of the more, or the purple line up there kind of the more interesting, except that nobody thinks he's going to win, right? He would be up to 4 stations, which is, if he gets one of those 2 in, which puts him in kind of the running for something at least. Gives green the interesting option of grabbing control of the passengers, because there's 2 there. He would be tied for first if he takes that, which means it's worth $4,000 instead of maybe $1,000 or nothing. That's interesting. If I push this down, he takes it. He gets the passenger line. Black will probably throw his company in, getting him up to 3 certificates and la la la. Which is worth more, you know? I think the number of white, I think boosting white to 4 stations is a bad move for me. So I think what I want to do is I want to chug purple down. And do I send him another one? Might as well. I'm not sure. What else could we do? You know, we can send yellow someplace stupid. The purple down, that gives somebody the ability to end this. And that, this was already in play. Where there are stations, it's hard to remember to lay the track, I think. So nobody objects to his purple. Now, if I get another purple, I get another share when it rams in. That's the difference. Whereas I don't think this is going to make it into the play. Oh, no. No, I must not. If I go here, yeah, this must have been here. So if I go here, I think that's what I screwed up. I think I just got that one. So now if I play another one, I get purple. I get a second purple, which means if it rams in, I get an additional green share. That's not going to win me the share fight, though, so I don't really care about that. So I'm going to send yellow there and grab a yellow share, too. Because that purple share, if I get a second purple share, that's great and all. Well, I'd get an extra $1,000 or something out of it, I think. I don't know. But I'm not going to win green because that guy's going to get green. So that puts it on brown. What does brown want to do? Brown has 2 options. I can either get the guarantee on the passenger. I have that if the game ends here. So that's of less value otherwise. I'd have the more shares in yellow. That's worth, you know, $3,000 or something. That's pretty decent. I could divert this. What does that do for me, though? I don't know. Brown currently only has 2 of these, which puts him tied with black. I'm not going to get the lead in those. So I think the best I can do, I'm not going to lose the lead in the greens. Kind of think the best that I can do is grab tokens. However, if I do that, there's a risk that he could put the yellow into there. Why? Well, if yellow's here, it's still not in range to get there. And he would get that bonus. And I don't know who's winning, out of the two of them. Tough call. However, if I just close this out, well, I get another green. That doesn't really help me. Stations don't matter too much to me. I am not going to get a third station in with brown, unless I throw one here, but we're assuming that's not going to happen. What I might be able to do is try to slip yellow up this way. He'll veto it. I could trump that. But then it comes to this location, and that doesn't help me. Oh, gosh. Tough decisions. There really isn't a lot to choose from, which makes it easier to make these choices. Well, tokens may be our best move. So we have 2 barrels. He has 2 barrels. We have a bear rug and a cog. What else is there? I don't know. There's tongues. We're not in that. So getting a barrel would mean an extra couple $1,000. I don't know. That doesn't sound worth much. Cogs. Somebody else has cogs. That would mean another couple $1,000. We could take both though, and that's $4,000. Whereas this doesn't really give us much. It gives us the shares on this, which would be $2,000. So that's not worth it. So yeah, let's grab a barrel and a cog. And where do we want to take them from? Well, this could get rammed into. It's already connected, so we don't have to worry. Like, I think all this city's not connected, and this city's not connected. So those pieces actually don't count, which is important because there's a pale green tongue over there. So I could actually grab tongue. I could go from the lead. I could go from nowhere to the leading tongue. That's $6,000. That sounds pleasing. And what was the other? The other was from 4,000 to 6,000 in those. So we're going to grab these 2 tongues, unless this is Hereford. It's the pale green tongue. No, that's not connected. Yeah, let's grab these 2 tongues. Get a few $1,000 off that. That puts it on black. Well, black's like, we'd like to hook this up. We only have one company that could do it. It's the yellow company. Do we want to be screwing around with that? I don't know. As it stands, if we ram this in, we get second place in that. But we only get 1 extra green share, and that's not going to help us. He's got 4 of them. So I think we want to run the yellow rail at this point to try and get a few extra points off that by hitting here, so this gets counted in the game. It's unlikely, but we'll go here. The only guy with yellow doesn't give a shit about that. That's exactly where he wants us. But now we want the passenger jet. He doesn't like that. I don't want that. I'll bid 1 to prevent that. The 1 that I get for trying to do this, I spend to go in there. It means more. And that goes here. That'll get me the passenger chip, but it also triggers this, which means $2,000, $3,000 for white. Because he's the only one with stations there. And we've taken our turn. I should slam it over here. I'm gonna need to think about this guy. I gotta say, the simple expedient of making the money hidden makes it so you cannot, unless you have a great memory, or you do something which I would say is violating this principle of hidden money, which is actually try to track the hidden trackable information. It puts you in a position where you can't absolutely guarantee that you can calculate out who's gonna win. Now, what does that mean? I don't know. Because you can still calculate out everything else that's on the board. And you can calculate out what money's available to people. So you might be in a situation where you can't absolutely determine who's going to win, whereas you could otherwise. But I don't think it's going to particularly speed up the game if people are insistent on calculating out who is going to win if I take move X. I think the game would probably, at the end here, you'd have people, and people like me too, who might calculate out everything just in order to figure out, should I crash the game or not? And it probably isn't going to make a damn bit of difference. This guy actually really doesn't care much. His yellow company got hurt. So, how did it get hurt? How did he? Oh, he didn't have any track in it. Yeah, so what does he want to do? That's a good question. He kind of doesn't give a shit. This isn't going to help him much. Getting green shares. There are still green shares for a collision. That is not going to do him anything in the game. So what I'm going to do is, what do I have? I have cogs. He has only one cog. I'm going to take a cog, and I'm going to try to run this into there. People who have yellow, what do they care? Well, he sure the hell doesn't want white connecting up. Maybe I should just be trying to connect up. But I feel like white's very far behind. He doesn't want white connecting up, so he's fine with this. He doesn't really care. He'll hold the share. So we end up down there. That gives him a boatload of $3,000, which throw some more of these stupid money. Oh, there's another endgame condition, which is if all the track get played. And, you know, I don't think it's going to happen. Somebody's going to hook these guys up before that. But I don't know for sure who. Well, green wants to protect their position. Boom, boom. Whatever happens, things could be better, right? We might get another station. Does that make sense? It does, because if these trains go through those stations, we get an extra cycle of money through the companies with the stations. So I think that's a cool move, but I'm not sure. There are no more passenger tokens. We lost that race going into there. It helps green. It helps us. Might be my best move. Other options. Well, we definitely don't want to get in here because we did that tongue move. Ooh. So I think we're the person who wants to do this. And we'll move purple down. The green share doesn't matter, so we can enforce whatever we do. Who cares? Does he care? Because he's all in favor of this. Does he care? I would say perhaps. I can't tell. Yeah, he wanted yellow to work. Which means he's going to bid his one to prevent this. He's not sure how he feels about it. If it was this move, it would be fine. But if he's curving around, we need to hold one. So he's going to spend to ensure he gets to do this. Oh, he can't trump him anyway. But then I get to do the next one. He'll penalize it. We throw this away again. That means no share for us. Is that a problem? Yeah, it kind of is. We're not going to get money if we do this. Shit. Maybe we want to do something else then. Why did we want to slam this in? Because we didn't want the tongue to happen. Yeah. Okay. We'll drive in. Although we could get more tokens. But we're pretty happy with our token position. So we're putting this in here. That gets me a curve here. That'll ram this in at 1-2, which means it's worth, station guy gets $3,000. Station guy is black. And we're at the end of the game here. Just be scoring it after this. Okay. And then shares. 3 people have a purple share. It is worth a total of $3,000, so it's worth $1,000 to each of those 3. And nobody's getting a share off of it, which is perhaps important. I don't think so. Come back here, and purple is gone. And that's the end of the game. Yellow never made it. Somebody doesn't make it. And now we start scoring things. Let me get some. All right, first thing is this town does not exist. So we take its tokens and we drop them aside. Every other town is hooked up in the game. May or may not matter. All right. Majority of tokens. Let's do the passengers first. We got 3 and 3 here. That means they share the majority. They each get $4,000. This is going to be really fucking annoying to do by hand. Flipped over the ones I used. Next one, barrels. He has 2 barrels. He has 2 barrels. This guy is canceled. That means they each get $4,000. 6 there, so I can get a 10. 1 there, so I can get a 5. Barrels are accounted for. Tongues, first and second. That's 6,000 for his tongue and 3,000 for his. And you can see, I mean, you don't have to invest heavily in the tokens to get money off of them. You know, a lot of people complain about, well, the tokens aren't quite as fair as everything else. Yeah, but they are if you're not taking too many turns with them. You get cash when they hit on the offer, and then you kind of balance things out and maybe make a few extra bucks at the end. Bears. Bears are not worth much. That's 4,000 each. So he gets 10. And he gets his 4,000. Get these fuckers out of there. Okay. Cogs, 6,000 over here. And 3,000 2,000 over here. And that's all the tokens calculated. Stations. There's 2 companies left. Let's do yellow first. White has the only station for yellow. Yellow hits 3 cities. It is worth 4,500. That's 4,000 bucks for the yellow stations. All right, let's do yellow shares too at the same point. They are worth the same. 3 stations makes it 4,500 bucks divided by 3 is 1,000 bucks to each person who has a share of yellow. Excellent. Because they're all tied for first, not because shares are worth anything in this game. Final one's green. Green's going to be expensive, or a pain in the ass to calculate. We know what the division is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Jesus, I hate counting. 7, 8, 9, 10. I think 11. I don't know. I can't count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, I think, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. All right. 20. Who's got the most stations? Green has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. White has 3. Brown has 3. Black has 3. Okay, so what did I say it was? 20? 20. So for stations, green gets $20,000. That's a pretty hefty sum of cash. Brown does not get that. Green gets it. The other 10,000 is split between 3 players. They all have the same number of stations, I guess. Oh no. Brown only has 2 stations. I was counting the choo-choo as a station. Let's get this shit off the track. Get that mixed up. Okay. So Brown only has 2 stations. They're not involved in it. 1, 2, 3 for black. 1, 2, 3 for white. So we said there were 20. That's halved is 10. They each get a $5,000. So that's a pretty big difference. And then, of course, somebody doesn't get them at all. So, yeah, these guys each get their share. And then the final is shares. He gets the 20. And the 10 goes all by itself over to the black player, who is the guy who didn't have enough stations. And likewise, the guy who didn't have, black didn't have enough stations. Brown is the guy who also didn't have enough stations, right? Black had 3. Black got their share of the stations, yeah. But you've got kind of this interesting situation where, like, you know, people are getting cut out of you can't win both the big things usually. All right, I think I've assigned all the cash. Now I just count it up and I guess write it down. I say I'm a little surprised by the results. Worst, white. Always hoping some kind of surprise there. They made lots of money in cash throughout the game or something. Nah, they were just so hosed. They're at 37, which wasn't a bad amount of money. The next lowest, though, surprised me, was green at 54. And then the 2 final players, the first and second place, were very, very close. We had brown at 68 and black at 70. And I thought this was a race between green and brown because they each had one of the top rank things in the green company, which, you know, is worth tons of money, right? One of them had the shares, one of them had the stations. The fact that brown was cut out of the stations and green was cut out of the shares, black got second place in the shares, which is worth a fair amount of money, and the shared second place in the stations, which wasn't worth much at all. I'm not sure what else black did. They had a lot, you know. I didn't think they were really in the running because of that. Anyway, a little bit of a surprise there. Clean it up, come back with a review. It's hard for me to say anything about it because I wasn't paying that much attention to the narrative. I have this same problem with the 18xx games. Again, if I'm doing the video, I lose track of sort of what the storyline is more. I have a better overview of the storyline and that's a lot of my enjoyment in the game. You might ask, well, what's the story in this? Yeah, I know, but I do. And I only get it when I'm playing solo. I do not get it when I'm playing opposed. When I'm playing opposed, I'm playing a game, man. I'm like, you know, it's the same as playing bridge or something. I don't remember what the, you know, what, the map doesn't help me. But the map's very, very helpful when I'm playing it solo in terms of giving me something, you know, I have the growth of this company or whatever. And this thing probably shouldn't be here either. All right, let's send this one up.